Previously in X-Men, months back, Wolverine, the unlovable, grouchy berserker, journeyed to Japan to protect Lady Mariko Yoshida. And Logan opened his heart just enough to believe that they could build a future together, only to uncover that Mariko's father was seizing control of the Japanese criminal underworld. To ensure her safety and establish his honor, Wolverine had to stand between Mariko and her deadly father, Shingen. I am Jason Lapidus.
I'm Chris Sanagan.
And we are a group of 7 comics. Welcome to episode 89 of our ongoing Tuesday night live stream read-through of the X-Men comics that became classic as we read Uncanny X-Men 172 by storytellers Chris Claremont and Paul Smith, and inked by Bob Wiacek, cover date of August 1983. How are you, sir?
I'm great. And isn't that just the story that we're always running up against? We're always trying to kill our father-in-laws. Isn't that what it is? No?
Definitely not.
Oh, okay. I may be off topic, but...
Well, maybe just the ones that are trying to, galvanize.
Look, there's one thing that we have in common with Wolverine. Our father-in-laws lead massive international criminal mafias, and we were married into these families, and we just had to watch our backs.
Yeah, it's a tough gig. It's a tough gig. To all those out there who are not yet married, watch out. It's a tough gig.
Whether it's Izzy or Gary, I'm just saying.
Perhaps. It's good to see you. I'm
man.
grateful that you are able to make this work given your new location.
Yeah.
And this begs the question, where are you next Tuesday night? Still where you are now?
No. I believe next Tuesday night I'm in Hamilton, Ontario.
For the evening? You playing hockey?
For the evening. No, visiting family.
Nice. Okay, so you're not available for next week, so we need to figure that out. Gotcha.
But you're also unavailable next week.
Yeah, but it turns out now they have Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's a development.
It is.
That's a development.
And I can watch a show. So
yes, I am unavailable. Yes, I'm unavailable next week. Yeah,
we'll figure that out. Well, I'm glad you're here this week. I'm glad that I'm here to be with you. I hope you enjoyed reading issue 172. There's more in the intro that I wanted to pepper in, but I thought it was just more dramatic to keep it about Logan. But we probably should just keep update with anyone who's coming into this episode cold, who hasn't been keeping up with our other X-Men issues. And I'll tell you what's been going with Scott Summers, who is not an active member of the team. He's off, living his life, trying to move on past the X-Men. And he's right now romantically entangled with Madeline Pryor, a new character, who is a near spitting image of his deceased true love, Jean Grey.
Something's up there. I don't know what it is yet. I don't know, but
yeah, is.
She showed up in a plane the day Jean died. I don't know.
Right, she had
a
plane crash engulfed in flames the day that Jean died,
right.
And that date, which I think was September 1st, is burned into her soul as a meaningful date, as it is, of course, for Scott and the now departed Jean, and which, if we're just sticking within the comics. Again, trying to read only what's on the page, not looking to backstory and not look ahead. And by said backstory, I mean behind the scenes, like the creative process and the editorial process. If we're just reading what's on the page, we are definitely being led down a path where this is some kind of reincarnation, hiccups, of the late, great Phoenix and Jean Grey. So it's cool to see how it will play out. And
I got high hopes. I got high hopes. I don't think anything bad's going to happen to Scott, okay? Scott is due for a real happy ending, and we're going to see it.
Yes, I hear you. And then also another sort of thing of note is Storm, right? And ever since she sort of took the leadership role that Cyclops abandoned or left behind in some way, she took that leadership role of the X-Men, and now more recently the Morlocks. She's been less like that warm and innocent mutant that we once knew and loved on the team, and she's got her new outlook. And a new perspective, and then and that challenges both her comrades, and it could be potentially fatal for her opponents. She's got a nice edge to her now. That's been growing.
It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's lovely to have the heart of your team, and to really root for these characters who really want to do good by the world, but at the same time, it's great to see the development and the arcs and the emotion and the darkness and all of it, because it really just makes for more enriching story. So.
Yeah, and I think that through that cosmic story we saw, about 10 issues ago, or at the start of Paul Smith's run, at the end of Cockrum's time penciling and being a creative force in the series too, we see that Aurora has had experiences that have shown her more to reality and more to existence than she had when she started the series. She's been through more, and that's informed the way she sees the world and relationships and the way she's going to live her life on a day-to-day basis. And it, like you said, it does make her a richer character. Really interesting to see. And I guess the last key part of it is that their once enemy, the mutant known as Rogue, who stole powers from their friend Carol Danvers, who's now Rogue is immensely powerful. She has come to the X-Men begging for help, and Xavier, against everyone else's wishes, has said, "Join the team," and no one wants her there, which is that's great. I love the drama of you're the outcast of the group.
Well, how can they trust her, right? Right. She had to earn their trust, which is a whole other journey, right?
Right. Which makes me really excited, when I picked up, and I've known this cover for a long time of the Essentials, this is based on the cover of 173. It's Wolverine charging forward, the iconic image of that, and then Rogue right behind him. So I'm really excited to see where that happens. Is that just a nice cover, or is it part of the story? So I'm excited to get there. Chuck says, hello, Chuck Dotson. How are you? Hope you're well. Hello, ex-friends. David Cutler is here. Hello, ex-fellows. Hello, David. Hello, Chuck. Hope you're both doing well.
Ex-chums.
We are going to see David, of course, this week on Thursday at Fan Expo Canada. David is going to be have a nice guest table there, and we'll be down the road from him a little bit. And I'm looking forward to fist bumping and provoking David into sharing one of his many insightful points of view about comics. Because David, you always have something interesting to share with me that changes my look.
1 year Fan Expo, we've got to do live table reading, previously in X-Men, special guests, got Cutler and Lowe and whoever else. Chuck, if you're in Toronto, you too, buddy. Just saying, there you go. One time, Fan Expo, live reading, previously in X-Men.
That would be a lot of fun to do. So that kind of gives us a sense of where all the characters are. And again, I find it hard to want to stay within the book and not, go back and learn that about character, or go forward and see where it's going to go. But trying to stay just within the pages of this comic and just read what's on the page and see what we can kind of decipher from it. By the way, I picked this up on Sunday. This is new for me. I'm really happy. Was it Saturday or Sunday? I've already forgotten.
It was Saturday.
Saturday. Really grateful to pick this one up at Nerdcore in Hamilton. The owner there, Keith, and his wife, they had a handful of X-Men comics, and this was one of them that was there. And I was like, let's get this done. I picked up a Byrne issue too. I picked up one with the one with White Queen on the cover, and she captures all the the menacing White Queen.
Yeah, totally.
On the Frost cover. So that one I got a little bit more.
It's the cover that Tony Stark fell in love with. Ooh, current X-Men topic.
Oh, nice.
There you go. That's all I know.
David says, that's a great idea. Too bad it's too late for this year. You know what, David? I wouldn't mind if we build a bit more of an audience before we unleash this on Fan Expo. Otherwise, it's just us in a room.
Yeah. How great would that be? Ourselves. How great would that be? Well, this is like now we're in an echo chamber. It just happens to be on YouTube.
Good point. All right. So you're reading this for the first time. I'm reading this for the first time just before this reading. So I'm excited to hear about your take after we finish today. We also will make mention afterwards about the passing of the late, great Dan Green, who you and I will talk about. I know that this is probably coming as a surprise to you, and it's not meant to, I'm not trying to ambush you or anything. There's a longtime X-Men inker passed away either yesterday or the day before, but we'll just touch upon that at the end there and go over his credits a little bit, as we're going to be reading a lot of Dan Green, a lot of comics that Dan Green touched over the next few years. So we'll get to that at the end. But there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
X-Men 172. You ready, Chris?
One diggity two. Let's do it.
Look at that. I put the original art of the cover on the thumbnail. I don't know if you got a chance to see it. It was really neat to see, like, how it's a real paste up of different pieces. You know, this is not one thing that was drawn by a person. This is the lettering was pasted on after. You know, there's the color hold lettering from Wolverine, the elf. Don't forget the beer. And then the only parts that are really drawn are just the envelope and the portrait there and the knife, which I believe would be wakizashi, like the smaller blade of.
Blade.
If that's what it is.
Right. And so two things. You know, it's too bad we didn't think about this, but we could have put up the last page, right? Because this is the direct image from issue 4 of the Wolverine limited series. That at the end, after Wolverine has gone through his journey of, as we all do, and fight our father-in-law. When we do that, when he finally does that, there is this image, this wedding invitation that ends the series, right?
Right.
With just to your point, a little note. Don't forget the beer elf, blah blah blah. So it's kind of neat to see that. You know, what is that? A year before 82?
Yes.
You know, and to kind of bring that, you know, obviously it would have been an image that people would have resonated with and been fond of, and then to go back to this storyline, also written by Claremont, to then have this as the image, but much more with vengeance. It's pretty cool.
Right. And having this be a direct lift. I mean, the drawing isn't the same drawing. Like, that was a Miller inked by Rubenstein. This is clearly a Paul Smith drawing of that image. So that tells me that this is like there's a direct link. So I'm going into this thinking, okay, we're getting something to do with that storyline. And I find it really interesting how that plays out if you want to open up into the first page.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go.
What we get is
a Cracker Jack story.
Right away, you know, we're in Tokyo. And so, okay, that I find that interesting. And then within the first moments, I'm realizing there's something special about this issue, unlike every single issue of X-Men preceding it. I don't know if you've noticed it yet.
Well, it certainly doesn't have the title card or the you know, so right off it kicks right in.
Well, I'll allow me to start reading, and it'll become clear pretty quick. The upper class Meguro district. The building stands 60 stories tall, 55 commercial. The rest a single luxury apartment. It's where the daimyo of Clan Yoshida stays whenever he's in town. 10 weeks ago, upon Yoshida Shingen's death, the title passed to his firstborn, his daughter Mariko. I'm her lover, her champion. And in 5 days, I become her consort. A man should have his friends beside him at his wedding. These are mine, the X-Men.
Wolverine, it's good to see you, Doverish. We've been too long apart. What a trip, Logan. We had an entire 747 all to ourselves. The pilot said it was the plane the Emperor uses.
My fiancé has clout, kiddo. Welcome to Japan. And right away, like, it's Wolverine's the narrator. Yeah. This is the first time. And so this is another moment where I'm like, oh, this is the continuation of the Wolverine Limited series. If that's issue 1, 2, 3, and 4, this is kind of issue 5, you know, in a way. Right. Because we have a different storyteller. I found that was really interesting. And then there are some other direct nods. And it makes me think, like, what could be? Like, maybe the Wolverine Limited series is the start of just, like, Wolverine-centered comics. And there can be, within X-Men, you can do issues that are just like Wolverine comics within the X-Men ongoing. You know what I mean? Before he gets his own title eventually within a few years. Right. But you can still have 2 issues a year that are Wolverine. Anyway, I think it's kind of neat.
That's super cool.
And we're going to see some other direct connections to that series, besides the fact that this takes place in the same spot, with the same characters, with the same narrator. Different artists, of course, but same writer. Anyway.
I know. Something else. Okay, I'm just going to try something because I'm trying to... where'd it go here?
It looks good here, by the way.
It looks good on your screen? Okay, good. Because I I'm on a different screen. I'm on a laptop, and I just want to, because I'm not at home. I want to up it on. So if I do that, so does it adjust it?
It is zoomed in, but
Okay,
we've lost part of the bottom of the image.
Okay.
Oh, I can do one more thing on this end. Sorry, I should have thought
See
of
what
this
you can do on your
before.
end. Oh, and take our cameras out.
Yeah. How's that for you?
It's. I think it's at 100. It's still at 100. Let me just see in a second. Yeah, if I do one up, it takes it down, right?
Try again. Yeah, it does. We lost a bit of the bottom.
Okay, we're good. Okay, we'll go back to it. Okay, we'll go. We will be fine. Here we go. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Are you well, my friend? Your letters were terse, as always, but I managed to read between the lines. It sounded like you had a pretty rough time.
There were moments, Elf.
I like the outfit. It makes you look very nearly civilized.
I do my humble best, pal. What the heck is that around Kitty's neck?
Her pet dragon.
Customs must have loved that.
They didn't say a word, and Lockheed isn't a pet Nightcrawler. He's my friend. Don't you dare snarl, Lockheed. Wolverine's my friend, too.
Feisty little critter. Ain't he? Reminds me of me.
Logan's
Oh, go ahead.
No, you can do it.
Okay.
You do.
Logan's son. One of the X-Men remains in the Genkin. Will you not invite her in? I'm a mutant. Just like all X-Men, born with special, unique powers and abilities. In my case, among other things, I have enhanced physical senses. Sight, hearing, taste, touch, smell, in case you didn't know what your senses were. I knew who was there the instant she entered. Now, before we go further, does this page layout remind you at all of Miller's
Absolutely.
style?
Absolutely it does. It's
think
the use of white space for sure.
And the echoes.
Yeah.
Right? We get these like 4 panels in, and then the
tall.
tall.
Yep.
And then the mirror of like the tall, and then the 4 panels out. And there's no question it's intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And it also is really effective. Like it connects you to that series without necessarily, overtly stating it. It draws me in. And then I just love these 2 figures.
Great.
Like one is more confident than the other. One is, nervous, but they're in the same pose essentially, both with their weight on their right leg and right hip. He's such a good figure drawer.
He really is.
They look amazing. And the clothing, the drapery, and I love Rogue's outfit too. Even though it's not combat, it says Rogue. It's screaming Rogue at us.
That is hilarious to me. How everyone else is just wearing clothes and she's wearing an extension of her combat outfit.
Yeah. I love the idea that any character, whether we're talking Superman or any of the X-Men, I mean, whatever, that they have clothes that are on brand that aren't necessarily their costume, it's an extension of their costume that they wear to suit the moment. So, she's got on travel wear and clearly it's colder. Everyone's wearing hooded outfits and long sleeves and such. So, she's wearing it. And then, her just the way she stands in that frame, being all shy and not sure how to proceed. I also think about, what we know about the character. She's not very well traveled. She's been coast to coast in the States, but I don't know if she's ever left the United States before. So this is kind of neat. And everyone hates her.
Everyone hates her. She's just shown up, right? And although she's on their first trip to mission to Japan.
That first panel with Rogue is unbelievable. I agree with you. It just speaks volumes, And Chuck continues here. She's trying to be so small inside the frame of the doorway, in the frame of the or in the frame of the panel. Yeah, it's just excellent, excellent cartooning. Well, she traveled to the moon last issue. Thank you, David.
I guess so.
I don't think she got all the way there, but I get your point. I get your point. That's good. Thank you for that. You can always count on you for that kind of stuff. That's great. Okay, Wolverine says, if it were up to me, Miko, I'd cut her heart out. The kid's name is Rogue. We tussled a while back at the Pentagon. And before that, she nearly killed a good friend of mine. I don't mind being used as a punching bag. It comes with the territory. But what she did to Carol Danvers, I'll never forget or forgive. Logan, she is no longer our enemy. Professor Xavier has accepted her as an X-Men. You agreed to that, Roro? We all did. Figures. Any outfit that'll take me as a member will admit anyone. You think too little of yourself, Wolverine. And I think there's a missing word here. And I think you judge your comrades too harshly.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever your feelings, she is our guest, and as such, will be treated with all due courtesy and respect. Welcome, Rogue Son. May your stay with us be a happy one.
Thank you, Lady Mariko.
Make yourselves comfortable, people. There are refreshments if you want them, or beds if you want to crash.
Great idea. What day is this anyway? Do we gain or lose when crossing the international date line? Oh, kitty.
I find like the tease in that panel is a little tough to kind of read if you don't know what it is.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like,
yeah.
Would there really be a weird sparkle on the end of that? Yeah, it's a tough
Blade.
one.
It is tough.
We'll go with it, right?
Oh, maybe it's Blade.
Speaking of which, would you like to read that character?
Blade? Sure.
Whoever's holding that blade.
Sure, yeah.
That's an awesome picture. That is so cool.
It is super cool. Okay, here we go. The bugs I planted work perfectly. I can hear every word said across the way. The X-Men are exhausted from their journey, and they expect no trouble. Why should they? A wedding is a joyous occasion. If I strike tonight, they will be easy prey.
And then even just the silhouette of the character on the next building or in the perch up there, I actually can tell who it is just from that pose. I think that's, and like the design of Yukio is so basic anyway, but it really works as again for like clear cartooning. So here we get the credits. Now we're a few pages in.
It's interesting though too, because like you're just on that point about it's Yukio. If you come to this though without having read the Wolverine limited series, like it's a different take, right?
Yeah,
like we're so used to it, and I think they're banking on right, like with all of these, like we're going to put these characters in. They're banking on the familiarity of their audience to have taken the leap and gone to the Wolverine series. And I imagine at this point that series has been super well received to some point, like critically probably too, maybe. Okay.
I've never looked at the sales numbers, and I don't know if X-Men is selling at this point again in the sort of the low 300,000s or high 200,000s. I don't know how many copies of Wolverine 1 through 4 got out there, and then there's always those issues with how many of them were actually printed, and do the numbers stay consistent 1 through 4, or do more copies? Like, remember, X-Men is a newsstand series. You can get it on the newsstand, and you can get it at the direct market. I don't know if the same was said for the Wolverine Limited series. I'm assuming it was.
Well, either that or this acts as a, this is, as you said in the introduction, coming to this, trying to enjoy the comic within its own space, like not trying to tie it. And so this would be, someone's going to read this, and you're going to share this with a friend. You'd be like, you read 172, and the guy's like, someone else is going to say, yeah, but have you read the Wolverine Limited series? Like it's going to be one of those things that's going to send people back to if they haven't been familiar with this.
Yeah, a lot of people I've been speaking to who are around my age, like this is the time that they started reading X-Men.
Interesting. Okay,
like this is their first issue, or the next one's their first issue, and whether they have the background with the limited series or not, it just worked. There's enough going on here. I love the fact that like the supporting characters in this issue are as interesting as the X-Men.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's continue. I love that picture of that mysterious silver-looking samurai type character.
That's silver. That's silverish.
His grip on the katana is awesome. Just the whole thing.
Yeah.
Scarlet in Glory. And there we go. We get our credits. It's the same cast of characters in the production. Like, I love how we were, other than changing, penciler and inker once in a while, we've got, again, Glynis Wein, Tom Orzechowski, Louise Jones, and Jim Shooter. Like it's a very stable crew. All right.
Absolutely.
Do you want to read Yukio? Since I'll read the sunshine side of Wolverine's love
Oh,
life.
sure.
Read the dark side.
You've been on Wolverine's trail for days, Skulker. If he weren't so besotted with that bloodless porcelain doll, he'd never spotted you long ago. Sorry, I'm squinting a bit. Luckily for him, less so for you. He has nothing to fear, so long as I'm around.
In your defense, that part where he'd have never or whatever, it is an HE''D''VE. He'd have.
He'd have.
I've never written he'd have before in my life.
It's gonna go in Peregrine's issue 9. Or it's gonna go
and then
comics issue.
For those of you art geeks watching, this Yukio uplit face, is that Michael Golden or what? Like or Art Adams. Like it's right in that realm of the way those guys render faces. Just cartoony enough in like an animation sense and really expressive and exaggerated in all the right ways. If you had told me that was a Michael Golden drawing, I would have believed you. And that's a compliment, by the way, because Golden is like one of the best renderers I've ever seen. Very cool. Again, more of these elongate or like vertical panels. Right? Sweet.
He's a perfect target. I could have killed him easily. But for now, I prefer him alive for questioning. Gotcha. Who? Uh-oh.
That sound.
I didn't say anything.
From the roof next door. Metal on flesh. A fighting kick.
I am the Silver Samurai girl. To attack me is death.
That's such a good drawing.
Yeah.
Port me over there, elf.
You sure about this?
Trust me.
My armor is proof against your strongest blows. And my energy blade can cut through anything.
What I tell you. Grab the lady elf. Make sure she's safe. Like,
So-
I also want to just see
Yeah.
Wolverine and Nightcrawler
Team up, right? Marvel team up.
up.
Wolverine,
just go rooftop teleporting and go fight everybody.
It's a wonderful, again, we've talked a lot of this about how over time Nightcrawler's power set, he's become more comfortable with it. We become more attuned to it as readers, and they keep kind of pushing it. And this is like kind of another example, like, yeah, just teleport me across the buildings. Like, okay,
Yeah.
sounds great. Yeah, let's do it.
I also love like getting into action, like Wolverine disrobing is
Oh,
is the Superman moment, right?
Of
Just
course.
show that chest hair.
Exactly. And of course, which is the visual other to full samurai outfit too, right? Like he is nothing but armored up, and Wolverine is nothing but hairy chest.
Yes. Chuck says, are they standing on top of a telephone? And the answer is yes.
They're in the microverse. They've been shrunk down. This whole episode takes place in the quantum realm.
There are a few examples of it. And you can see on the panel 1 of the previous page, there's like the receiver, and I'm going to go back actually more and see if there are any other shots of it to see if, I wonder if there was a building like, like a phone company or manufacturer that had some kind of tower that had a phone on it. And this is very, Dick Sprang is the Batman artist, I think, who made, and Shelley Maldoff, I think, made famous these oversized props around Gotham City, like the giant typewriter is sort of like a classic.
Right.
Yeah. David adds, you'd have written he'd have, you had to squeeze all that Claremont writing into a panel. I love it. Good job, David. You'd have. Good
I was going to say too, one thing
So
that
cheeky.
did confuse me, and I don't think it actually works because it did confuse me a bit, is in the first panel when she kicks him in the face and we have the crack. It looks like either she's kicked him into a window or she's broken his helmet. It looks like the shatters, right? And so when I first saw that, I'm like, oh, she's kicked him into the side of the building or through a window. I was like, oh no, I don't think she has. It's just trying to do the impact lines,
Yeah, it looks almost like she's shattered the pane of the panel.
Oh, is that what that is?
I really can't tell you what it is because pieces are definitely moving, and yeah, I don't have an answer. It's
all right.
I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't work. He's trying for something, and I'm not sure exactly what it is. But man, oh man, can he ever draw that reflective effect on Silver Samurai?
Totally.
And this is again before all the guys that were doing this regularly were pulling out this level of technique. You know, like George Perez is showing kind of, you know, and Terry Austin on inks at times. But this is just so beautifully rendered.
And is
really,
this
really great?
Is this first appearance of Silver Samurai?
It is not. It is not.
Okay.
We're going to actually get to a reference to that in a little bit.
Okay.
He appears, I think, as a 1970s Daredevil antagonist.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Before you and I ever read any Daredevil,
Yeah,
and then we'll hear a little bit more about that. Chuck says she definitely shattered the panel. Yeah, that's how he's reading it too.
All right, that makes more sense, Joe. Okay.
Yeah, but like, what I'm wondering what it means if she shatters a panel.
Well, it's a fight. According to Wolverine, it's a fighting kick. It's so fighting. It's them fighting words.
Yes, grab the lady, make sure she's safe.
All right.
Switch the. Yeah, here we go.
Well,
the bruiser's mine.
Logan's son.
And like, who else would draw this angle?
The butt? You mean the butt angle?
Or bottom of the feet?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that too.
But it really works.
It does actually. Yeah. Yeah, and we love full extension claws out Wolverine as missile.
Yeah. And those, like, his shoulder blades are touching almost, right? He's throwing himself with abandon. It reminds me of some of the stuff that John Cassidy would do later when he does Astonishing with Wolverine.
Right.
That kind of throwing yourself. He draws Beast like that and Wolverine like that at times. Like, this is not a martial artist. This is,
Brawler.
A brawler. Yeah, it's great. Fancy meeting you here, darling.
Where else would I be?
How about an explanation?
Ask him, not me. He's the villain.
It's Samurai.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I'll give you the only answer you deserve, Gaijin. A coward's death.
And then you can see that telephone is,
100% telephone.
The cord is there. It makes me think, like I said, it's a telephone company building. It must be. With that, the sucker disappears. I don't fall far, though, before Nightcrawler bamps me back to the roof.
See, wouldn't you want to see Nightcrawler and Wolverine do some special ops together?
Yeah.
Right? Because he just keeps here, he's bamfing all everywhere. That'd be cool.
And I didn't know that Silver Samurai could teleport.
No.
And the way that they do this effect of him just not being there in that second panel, like, it's not the second, it's actually the fifth, but there's the one where he flashes, and there's the one where there's like a residual image. And it's a little unclear, but that thing sticking out of his chest is Wolverine's foot.
Yes.
It's kind of miscolored. But you can clearly see Silver Samurai's open hand right and his sword-wielding hand on the left. And there's like a really neat-looking color hold there. I haven't seen that effect before. That's cool.
Did you ever watch the animated show Hit Monkey?
I watched a lot of it, but I think I put it on late at night and fell asleep at some point.
Right. Because Silver Samurai makes an appearance.
Well, let's talk about that some more at the end then. I'd like to hear about it.
Okay.
It's a woman. She's gone.
That's her style, pal.
Should we try to find her?
She's done her good deed for the day, Elf. Let her go.
You speak as though you know her.
Name's Yukio. She considers herself a Ronin, a master of the samurai. She's good too. Almost on par with me. We used to be friends.
A long time ago, we used to be friends.
Okay.
My foot. I slipped. I'm falling. By my ancestors.
I don't enjoy those couple drawings of her falling, I have to admit. Especially the last one, she yells on falling. It just doesn't work for me. But so be it. She does also have like a huge grin on her face, which is par for the character.
Right.
And we've been talking about about Storm's journey. And I'm interested to see what, Callisto had an impact on her in a negative way, you could say. Each of these encounters, like, they're having an impact on her. And I wonder, how this is
And
going to play out.
a lot of them are, I mean, if we're, I'm gonna maybe think too broadly here, but when I think of Callisto, I think of Yukio. When I think of Emma Frost, the impacts on her, or many of these kind of confrontations, are with other women.
Right.
So there is definitely, I think, a realization from Storm as leader, working through combating against these other really female leaders, that like how they approach things.
Right.
And I think it's probably giving her a lot to think about.
That's a good point.
Mm.
To me, my ex-friends. Hello, Jason Lowe. How are you? Welcome. Please enjoy the show. Do not be afraid. I shall not drop you. I am Storm.
I know, friend of Logan's. So was I, and a lot more. Once. What a ride. 1 in a million. I loved it.
You nearly died.
That's what made the experience so exquisite.
Death holds no terrors for you?
Life is the ultimate adventure, Wind Rider, and death, the prize that awaits us all. Since it's inevitable, why worry about it? Sayonara, Aurora-san, until we meet again.
Constant movement from that character too, right?
Constant.
Like
almost, it's funny, like manic, almost manic.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Like the only, she's not going to sit still unless you make her.
No.
The woman is mad, and yet I wish I could laugh so. Later. That's not Wolverine. That's just a regular narrator, I think.
Later, I'm back at the X-Mansion in Japan.
Later, I recognized the man. And I don't know how to pronounce this one. Kenoichiro Harada, the Silver Samurai. He and his mistress, Viper, fought the New Mutants recently and killed one of them, Shan Koi-man.
Yeah, what?
Now, what?
What? That was me. What? When I read this early, about 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago.
I would like to go read more about that, and I do not think that character is dead, but maybe I'm wrong.
And
so
it's Karma, right? That was Karma.
Yeah.
Man.
She was the one that first appeared in
That's right.
Marvel Team Up 100, which was a Frank Miller
That's right.
issue. Yeah. Was he following us, Logan, or you? Is there a connection between him and you? Him and Mariko? Maybe so. Mariko's dad, Shingen, used the clan as a power base from which he seized control of the Japanese underworld. He was an ambitious man. I doubt he'd be satisfied with that. He may have been working with Viper to expand his influence worldwide. Now I get to see mutants.
Yeah.
5 to 7.
That's right.
Right issue, because okay, so even if you were up on the New Mutants number 5 or number 5 to 7, that's pretty early for a character to die. So, just saying.
Yeah, that's good though. I think
it's good too. It's like when does Guardian die? Issue 11, I think.
How could you say that?
Oh, sorry. It's like
Issue 12.
issue 12. Okay, there you go.
How could you make that
How
mistake?
could you give me this thing?
It's funny you mentioned that, and we'll get to that more as we get to the end. We'll be talking more Alpha Flight in a few minutes. Go on.
Can the Shingen person be stopped?
Already done, Petey. By me.
Great. We can question him in prison, right? Oh, sorry, question in prison, right? And get all the answers we need.
I do not think so, Kachin.
What do you mean, Fuzzy Alice? Of course we... Oh.
Oh. Is it the last one? I? No.
It says, I see.
Oh, I see.
It's really blurry on the screen. It's hard to get that, but I hear you.
Okay, so I'm going to put something out there. Could be controversial take.
Yeah.
But I was recently watching, and I'm only saying this because I just did the Colossus voice, and we all know that our accents and our voices aren't great, but they're fun and people enjoy them. And that's good. But I recently watched in season 2 of the X-Men animated series the Omega Red episode, and they go back to Russia, and Colossus comes back for issue 2 for the second time, and he gets the X-Men, gets the Jubilee, and they go and they fight Omega Red. And the whole time I watched it, all I could think of was like, my version of Colossus is not worse than that professional actor who does the voice of Colossus in the X-Men animated series. So that, just saying, controversial take, but I thought, my gosh, mine is no worse than this.
Hear, hear. Cheers to you, my friend. I'm sad that this comment blocks the thing that Chuck is talking about, but the blocking in this panel is so interesting. Rogue and Storm set off from the group. Yeah, you can see there in the bottom left on the page on the left-hand side. They're both not with the group for, I think, good storytelling reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I also noticed that Paul Smith does not, just for no reason, like objectify Storm's body. He cloaks her more often than I would have expected.
We've talked about that a few times too, about how this version of her, as we talked about her character development, but at the same time, just artistically, she is desexualized. As opposed to previous artistic takes on her.
Agreed. Moments like this, I feel sorry for the kid. She cares for me, believes in me. But every so often, she gets reminded, hard, that we come from two different worlds. And that mine isn't very nice.
Canada.
Specifically, he comes from Canada. And it's not very nice in Canada.
She's from Minneapolis. I'm from Canada.
No, she's from outside Chicago.
Is it Chicago? Oh, okay, there you
go. Yeah. In honor, Logan did what I myself would have had to do, faced my father in single combat to the death. Shingen disgraced his name, his family. He deserved his fate. Would that his death had brought an end to my nightmare. Meeting tonight, midnight, come alone, Harada. That's the note she's reading. That's like she just read that on the note. She's dropped it to the ground. I have told no one of this summons, especially not my beloved. I am Lord of Clan Yoshida. It falls to me to atone for my father's crimes. Bong! She summoned somebody. It is a task I must accomplish alone. Tony, I will be out for a while. Logan-sama and our guests are not to know.
Keeping secrets.
Tony. Whoops, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Tony, Miko's maid, tells me Miko's gone to bed. I wish I could join her, but the X-Men and I have too much to talk about. I send Tony to the kitchen for more eats. Jet lag evidently hasn't affected anyone's appetite.
Bless you, Lady Mariko, for the noble fool you are. Before the night is out, my champion, the Silver Samurai, will have either your abdication or your head. And once I'm through here, the X-Men will be in no condition to save or avenge you.
So enter a character, I recognize her, of course, as Viper or as a Madam Hydra, which is the same. They're synonymous in this case. Like Viper is the character's sort of given evil name, and Madam Hydra is a title. So she serves as Madam Hydra for my childhood, and she's parallelly she's part of like the Serpent Society. And then you and I would, of course, have seen an iteration of this character in the Wolverine, which is the second Wolverine film, which takes place in Japan, which is, now I can see, a very loose, or it's inspired by many of the things from the Wolverine Limited series and from this issue, and maybe some more to come in the future. But I always wondered why Viper was in there, why she was in that film. I'm like, oh, it's because she's in the source material in some capacity.
Yeah, I had the exact same reaction once I knew that this character was Viper, thinking, "Oh, this is where she comes from. Like this is like this is the story as to why he's in Japan in the film." Yeah, okay,
right. So that was a big insight for me, and I'm kind of glad. We'll get to that at the end. We'll talk more about the movie anyway. Someone else. on the household staff does the serving. I don't know her, but that's no surprise. I have yet to meet most of the people who work for Miko's family. There's lightning, growl, thunder over Tokyo Bay. And I wonder if that's what Roro's doing. Being an elemental, weather around her tends to mimic her emotional state. Usually, though, as a result, she holds herself in tight rein. It's a lousy way to live, but she never seemed to mind. That's changed.
Will there be anything else, Logan-sama?
No, thank you, Yoshi. First appearance of Yoshi. No, thank you, Yoshi. We'll call if we need you. Have some tea, darling. It'll warm me up. Many thanks, Logan. These are lovely apartments. They'll do. Nice evil face.
Yeah, after he drinks something too, eh?
Yeah. You're different, Roro. So are you, my friend. That for sure. Whatever road I figured my life to take, I didn't count on it leading here. Look at me, a roughneck Canadian mountain man, about to marry a daughter of one of the oldest, most powerful, most respected families in Japan. I still don't believe it's really happening. There's got to be a dream. Why? Because part of me doesn't think it's right. To shame me, Shingen asked me if I was worthy. I guess deep down inside, I still have doubts about the answer. If Mariko accepts you, what else matters? But I sense deeper concern, Logan. Yeah, the clan's involvement in criminal affairs, thanks to Shingen, is far more extensive than Mariko suspects. Those ties won't be easy to sever. I wanted carte blanche to deal with the problem, but Miko said no. She's got courage, Roro, and more smarts than me, but she's out of her depth. I'm scared she'll be corrupted, shaped by circumstance, into her father's image. I've seen it happen before. I feel so flaming helpless. This kind of scrap's too subtle for me. I don't know how to handle it. I think you underestimate your lady. I hope so. Strange that he shouldn't have that aftertaste. It's so faint I barely noticed. I wish my own conflict were as clear cut. Storm, don't drink! What? Poison. Blessed goddess, no!
Before we go to the next
Yeah.
panel, I just need to take a quick break to help a child get to sleep for a quick minute. So I will talk amongst yourselves, and I will be back in about 2 minutes.
All right, tell the kid I say hi.
I will. Okay, hold on.
All right. There you go. I'm going to mute Chris's microphone there for a minute so we don't hear anything else in that house. I'm really surprised by how many panels Paul Smith is cramming into a couple of those pages, especially the one previous, which is now off screen, where it was, only a few words moving between 6 panels in one tier as it moves between Wolverine to Viper to Wolverine to Storm, and then to Viper as she's leaving the room in disguise. It really moves the emotions along beautifully, but I have to say, Paul Smith is climbing the charts rapidly as one of my all-time favorite X-Men artists, and I can see why everyone has revered him and his run so much in the last since I've been talking about X-Men with people and listening to other people talk about X-Men. Chuck says, well, Chris is gone. Can we talk about the panel layout in this issue? Absolutely, Chuck. That is where my mind is too. What are you thinking it? What are you thinking of it? David says, Wolverine's getting a little less ugly. So you mean that Paul Smith is drawing him more handsomely as he's moving on through the series, or that the character also is becoming, more thoughtful? I thought when Paul Smith started drawing Wolverine, his face was really flat, and now he's starting to, I think, feel more comfortable with the features without having to get so exaggerated with some of the cheek action. He was really flat in that face. So I agree with you, he's less ugly. But but I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, but it's working for me. All of his faces, I find he's just getting better and better at all of it. If I have one criticism of Paul Smith's work so far, it's that his panels tend to be square a lot of the time. Okay. So you mean you like things sometimes on angles as well, not just a lot of blocks. You like to see some explosive panels and things askew. That would make sense. David says, yeah, I'm commenting on Smith's Wolverine and Wolverine going forward, but Claremont's characterization too. Yeah, he is. We're getting not the same man what we started with, right? We're seeing a character who has depth and has subtlety in him and nuance, which is so different than where he started. And we've really been actively charting that as we moved into the John Byrne run, and where Claremont and Byrne together would like bring out those elements of Wolverine.
How
and now
dare you talk about panel layout without me?
And it's even more so with Paul Smith on board as a partner, like Wolverine's nuance. And I would also credit Claremont and the team with Miller, like having that foundational text put in place. It now, like the tragedy of the failed samurai is so poetic for the character moving forward, and it gives every writer and every artist something to work with that they didn't have before that. Like Byrne never got to play with that version of him yet. So it's kind of neat to see. Chuck says the panels in this issue are far more dynamic. Many of them are either very tall or very wide, lots of white space around them. Yeah, we've noted that too, and I do think that is because of what Miller put in place. And you could argue that Miller is inspired by the manga that he's been reading to allow the Wolverine Limited series to look the way it does, and then that's being echoed here. Yeah, it's neat. Everything okay there, Chris?
Oh, everything's fine on my end.
Excellent. So let us continue then. After the X-Men are all collapsed and Wolverine just saves Storm at the last moment. I also love like the exaggerated size of Storm's collar and the amulet. It's like really pronounced as a piece of clothing. It's not like a painted on thing the way it was for Cochran to show her form. It's like really there are layers to it, and there's depth and shape to her outfit.
It reminds
that both Byrne and Cochran could not do.
Yeah, it reminds you of the Dracula stuff.
Oh yeah,
that kind of like high collar amulet kind of vibe that we've seen the X-Men, fight with Dracula a few times now. Yeah.
Chuck continues. Square panels are good for a close-up of a single character, but a single character and a wide panel can say a lot. Oh, definitely. As we are about to see some more of that here too.
Okay.
Go for it.
Here's your car, Lady Mariko, as you requested.
Thank you, Matsuo-san. Take me to this address, please. It's on the waterfront, a warehouse. Wait for me.
Certainly.
Wait there for me, sorry.
Certainly, milady. Anything you say. Gotcha. Wait, did I say that out loud? Sorry.
Yukio is back.
Exactly.
Anchorage International Airport, Alaska. Home and headquarters of North Star Airlines. Another reference to Alpha Flight.
Mm-hmm.
In whose offices, long after hours, is Scott Summers, grandson of the boss, Storm's predecessor as leader of the X-Men.
Look, just because you are a grandson of the boss shouldn't mean you have access to classified HR files. But you know what? Whatever. Privacy is clearly not a concern in this company.
Totally.
Burning the midnight oil, big brother?
Hi, Alex. What brings you here?
Funny, I was just going to ask the same thing. Whose file? Madeline's?
This is none of your business, Alex.
Scott, Jean Grey is dead.
I love how he called her Jean Grey, not Jean, right? Like the other Jean he's talking about. Jean Grey, Scott. Grey, Scott. Remember Jean Grey?
Well, that's for us, right? That's for the kid who doesn't know.
I know.
What. Yeah.
It's just still kind of funny.
Madeline Pryor bears an uncanny resemblance to her, but that's all.
I want to believe that, Alex. But things keep happening. From the moment we met, she and I behave like people who know each other immediately for years. On our first date, she offered to fix my favorite breakfast. When I asked how she knew what it was, she said, simple. I read minds.
It's an expression, Scott. She could have found out from Grandma.
What about her crash?
Scott, you two are beautiful together. Why are you trying to destroy it?
I have to know the truth, Alex, whatever the cost. Madeline was the sole survivor of a plane that crashed not only the day that Jean died, but at the exact moment.
What? Dun, dun, dun.
Holy smokes. Holy smokes.
It is funny how they really keep the last 3 issues or so. They keep peppering in this Scott and Alex father and Corsair trip to the family airline, company, and the introduction of Madeline, and then this, Scott. I mean, it comes off, I think, almost it can come off as disjointed a bit sometimes. There's only a page here, a page there, but again, like us, because we've been reading everything. It feels like it's almost really there for like the long-term fan, and you're doing the future writing, right? You're setting things up,
Yes.
Yeah.
And it makes those things when they happen, like when these events come to fruition, slowly this plot will become, an A plot. Whereas right now it's maybe a C plot. It'll move to the front, and it will feel natural. Totally. As critical as one might be of it as a writing and storytelling approach, I actually enjoy it. I enjoy that soap opera.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in for it, for better or for worse. Yeah. Tokyo. I am here, Harada-san, as you requested. I assume the woman is your compatriot, Viper?
Good evening, Lady Mariko.
I am Nabatone Yokuse, milady. I have been asked to arbitrate this conflict. Even I have heard of the grand Oyabun of the Yakuza, the sole rival crime lord my father spared. However, my presence is solely out of the little respect owed to my half-brother, a sibling. What? As a sibling, know, Harada-san, that I rule Clan Yashida, and I will do so till I die.
That can be arranged.
Silence! Lady Mariko, your words are not helpful. They're not meant to be. I acknowledge no authority save the Emperor. Your ruling means nothing.
I am Shingen's only son. He promised me the clan. It is mine by right.
You are a criminal like our father. You have dishonored our name, forfeited your heritage. Your claim is denied.
God curse you, woman. You signaled your death warrant. Signed your death warrant.
It's okay. Oyabun, is this how you keep your word? I was guaranteed safe conduct. As, Silver Samurai draws his sword. Oof. I made my pledge to Lady Mariko. You are not she.
What? Who dares? How quickly some forget. We have unfinished business, samurai. I followed the limousine all the way here. Since it never stopped en route, Mariko must still be inside or nearby. Deal with her, Viper. The wild one is mine. That, renegade, is a matter of opinion. Viper disappeared. She must be using the same teleport device the samurai used to escape Wolverine and me earlier this evening.
That's a great kick to the face again, by the way.
Yeah, right through.
Right through.
Oof! Does my speed surprise you, Yukio? For all my bulk, I'm as fast as you. Not really. Not as agile either. But he's coming very close. I better be careful. A fog. I've never known one to rise so suddenly. The night was clear when we arrived. It's so thick I can barely see the car. Step out, Lady Mariko. There's a good girl. Your gambit failed. It will cost your life.
Quite the contrary, Viper.
Oof.
I'm loving the colors, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Looks great. The Gambit. Hey, that sounds like a really great name for a character.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because 100% I had the same joke in mind when I read this.
Nice.
And like, did you think like someone went back? So whoever created Gambit was like, Gambit.
I love the fact that you said whoever.
Yeah.
And that your innocence and naivety is really charming to me, because I wish I also didn't know. I'm just kidding around. Anyway, there are a couple characters where like the names just aren't as cool as the creators think the names are, and there are three that come to mind.
Cable.
Well, I just, like my newest character, his name is Twine. Yes, Cable, Bishop, and Gambit are like the three for me as I'm closing out my reading of X-Men as a kid.
Right.
As I'm becoming a young man. I'm like,
right.
These are like three least interesting character names, and it's all in good fun. Everyone has the things that they love, and I don't mean to yuck on someone else's yum, but those were three protagonists that I just could not ever grow a care about. Yeah. David's like, whoa, the Gambit shade, the Cable and Bishop shade. Yeah, we're just kidding. I mean, there's so many other goofy names. It's not like
Love Seat.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, the Gambit was Yukio's, and thus far proving most successful. She cannot hear me. She's unconscious. She's lucky to be alive. My gust of wind was meant only to disarm her. It blew out of control. Leave this place at once. Leave this place, Mariko, at once. But what of you, Storm and Yukio? We shall be fine. This is our sort of work. Use the car telephone to summon the police, as Yukio did me. So, children, once in a while, before there were smartphones and cell phones, cars sometimes had a telephone in them, and that was really special in 1983. Mm-hmm. If you knew someone who had a car phone, they pretty much had to be related in some way to the Emperor of Japan. But this is also another reference to phones in this issue. Like, this is the all phone issue all the time.
This is the phone lobby is getting its money's worth. The insidious phone lobby.
Yeah. Hurry! The longer you remain, the greater the danger. Thank goodness I can still fly. I'm noticing Paul Smith has done a lot of silhouettes in this issue. And it works. Like a nighttime, at the wharf. It's all good. What is wrong with me? Lately, I've been wielding my powers like a novice. And the harder I try to put things right, the worse they seem to get. There's Yukio, hard pressed by the samurai, and loving every minute of it. She is mad. Physically, I'm no match for the samurai. If I'm to save Yukio, I must risk summoning my lightning. No! Like, how awesome is that battle?
That's a great panel.
Just great choices on color. Often Storm's skin gets one color, and here I'm seeing 4 or even more for her skin. And it really works, even with like this old school tech. It reads beautifully.
And also fascinating, though, that she is actually quite reluctant or hesitant to summon lightning in this point. Like that's kind of like her thing, Yeah.
I also like that she used the word summon.
Mm-hmm. Goddess. Yeah. We're watching too much X-Men animated series. Of the heavens above.
Yes. Every time that she does that on the show, Olivia, my daughter, and we take a shot. Wait, did she leave her iPhone in the car? Is that what Storm is saying? And David, oh geez. They really phoned this one in. Thanks, Dave.
Oh, I love it.
Splendid, mutant. You have done precisely what I expected of you. My trap is sprung. Your fate is sealed. Too much power. I cannot dampen it. I am electrocuting him. I must draw the bolts back into myself.
This wasn't part of our plan. Storm's in trouble, and so am I. She's flinging stray bolts all over the warehouse. Whoops, explosives, tons of them, and Storm's setting them off. That sound, it's her screaming. Of all that's holy, what is happening to her?
And it looks like her skin is frying,
It does look like her skin is frying.
When I'm reading this, I'm thinking like she's either turning into binary.
Well, my first right, it is incredibly reminiscent of binary.
Yeah. And I'm hoping she doesn't have, like massive burnage to her skin. But we shall see. And then like just to foreshadow, like the costume is being destroyed. Right? Okay, let's continue.
Right. She's on fire. Her power's gone wild. It's consuming her. She can't break the psychic circuit. Stop the lightning. If I can reach her, get her out of here, maybe that'll do it for her. On the other hand, slightest touch could get me incinerated. Mariko's kimono isn't much protection, but it's all I have. Got her. And my momentum's carrying us towards the window. Now, convenient. We're over water.
How convenient.
How convenient. We're over water. I wasn't sure. Now, if only we hit before the entire mess. Boom.
Another great panel.
Yeah.
Great explosion, great use of silhouettes. And I love that Yukio no longer has Storm. Like Storm gets caught in that rising arc of the explosion. So she's thrown up. Just beautiful figure work. David says, I can hear Byrne rubbing his hands together as that costume disintegrates. Yeah, for sure. Just top-notch drawing from Michael Golden, from Paul Smith. Just really great faces, great figures. He's also found a way to do more feathering this issue, or at least, I'd love to see his pencils to see if he's giving Bob Wiacek more of a guide as to where to feather, or if Bob is now more comfortable with Paul's sparse pencils and just is making those choices on his own, because it really does work. So I think the two of them are hitting stride together. Yukio, where is she? If not for her, I would be dead. Eh? Merciful goddess.
All right. This blew my mind a bit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how long has it been? 30 issues?
She dies in 137.
Okay. So 30 issues?
Yeah.
and
35,
suddenly and suddenly we see the Phoenix.
Right.
Or something.
Or
whatever.
Well, that is a Phoenix. That is
right.
What we're reading it exactly as it's intended. It cannot be. I was hallucinating. What I saw could not exist.
Some fireworks.
Some fireworks. Some fireworks. Especially that bird image. You do that?
I wish I had. The X-Men believe Phoenix destroyed long ago, but can an entity such as she truly die? Does this manifestation mean she has somehow restored herself? I suppose to you this was simply another good time.
The best.
I envy your madness, Yukio. It is a luxury denied me ever since my powers first appeared. My safety and that of those around me requires an inner serenity, an absolute harmony with the world, with life itself. I have lately lost.
Is that why things went crazy in the warehouse?
I hope so. For the death of my soul is infinitely preferable to the alternative.
I live.
No, just a note here. I think maybe, if possible, would have been, I think, good to start that panel on the next page and have like a last panel be something like they look into the distance a little bit and they see the fire.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit disjointed in between those last two. But I mean, I understand. But
Yeah. I hear you.
The Wind Witch and the Wild One did their worst, yet through some miracle I survived. But what a viper and Nabatone, and the blast laid waste the entire dockyard. Whatever the old man's fate, Viper's fabled luck still holds. Run, women, hide as best you can, for my death mark is upon you. When I have finished with my half-sister, it will be your turn.
He's huge.
He's massive. He's always but he has always played massive. What I think of like him from the 90s, when I think of the robot version that comes after Wolverine or the old man armor version, whatever it is. But he's never like a slight guy. He's always like a massive, like almost like a Hulk size.
Yeah,
he's just massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Storm, I think.
I think it is.
What was that? I thought I heard laughter. I have lost my wits as well, to believe the winds themselves mock me, that the very night airs turned evil. Where are we going, Yukio? We must warn the others of what we saw.
It'll have to wait. We're neither of us in any shape to travel or fight. We need a place to rest.
Do you see in the distance?
Yes. There's a man in the alleyway.
Nabatone-san is there.
Nabatone-san.
I hate hospitals. Seen too much of them. The others are critical. If they survive the night, they'll pull through. The docs say it's a big if. I can't wait. My body started healing itself the instant I swallowed Viper's poison. I'm sick as a dog, but I'm on my feet. Thanks to Mariko. Sorry, I'll let you. There we go. We're going to have to go back, by the way, in a minute.
Okay.
Thanks to Mariko, we've got the intensive care ward to ourselves. Plus, an ace team of Secret Service agents for protection. They'll look after you and the X-Men while I'm gone. I will not permit this, Logan. You are too ill. It's suicide. If the samurai isn't stopped, he'll try again. More innocent people might get hurt. You want that, darling? Besides, Miko, my love, how are you going to stop me?
I'm going to come with you, Wolverine.
The heck you are.
I'm an X-Man, mister. Xavier said so.
Work with him then, kiddo, not me.
How am I supposed to prove myself if none of you'll give me the chance, huh?
What about the poison?
Half alien, remember? Wasn't so effective on me. Considering our condition and what's up for stake, you need a backup.
Makes sense. Much as I wish it didn't. But you follow my lead, youngster. My orders. Every flaming step of the way. Next issue, tag, you're dead. For 60 cents, better fun can't be had.
That's awesome. I love that tag. You're dead. I love it.
There's just such a modern rendering of like Wolverine's eyes, and again, you really see like the Art Adams and Michael Golden, and what will then become those other artists moving forward. He's so ahead of the curve. A lot of panels to stick on one page, but it really still works. Rogue's hand on hip there, like the sass, even though all we can see is just a hand and a hip, it all plays. I like so much about this. Now let's go back one page if you don't mind.
Of course. The Kool-Aid Man?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
I can see why you'd want to talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
No. The Marvel Bulletin there.
Oh, Bulletin. Oh, okay.
They're announcing the new look to their corner boxes.
Oh.
Which is my favorite version of their corner box, was just the sort of M as the negative space in which
Oh,
everything
right,
else exists.
right,
I love
right.
that look. I'm down with it. Cool. But then also, what comes out this month in the hype box? Alpha Flight #1. Woo, woo, woo.
Ooh.
So that's a fun note. That's what I wanted to mention before. To the next reference to Alpha Flight.
There you
As well,
go.
we get a Return of the Jedi issue of Star Wars, which is very exciting. And then the sad note is the Doctor Strange, which is the third one in the hype box, is going to be penciled by Dan Green, who just
Okay.
passed away. And yeah, we're going to see a lot of Dan Green's fingerprints on X-Men comics moving forward, as he will be inking over lots of great artists in the next few years. And I'm excited to read, obviously more and more and more of the X-Men. And we're going to see, like I said, just tons of Dan Green over people. For me, he's most famous for inking over Mark Silvestri.
Oh, okay.
In the, the Outback run, like that time period. And we'll see tons of him moving forward. So we'll get a chance to appreciate lots of Dan Green's contributions to X-Men and Marvel Comics over the next couple of years. Hey, Conrad, how you doing, man? Alpha Flight! It's like you heard us mention it, and in you go. Nice that you could be here.
Did you know, I didn't realize that the Kool-Aid Man's arch enemies are called the Thirsties?
It's what you didn't know, of course, was that my arch enemies are also called the Thirsties.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say your arch enemy is also Kool-Aid Man.
would you mind now going to the X-Mail?
Yeah.
There's some things of note here.
Okay.
Fun. I don't know if you did take the time to read ahead of time, but Kitty Pryde is the one who is answering the mail this time.
Oh, okay.
So she gets the introduction, but I will read you something. And everyone who's listening, please do your best not to cringe too much, okay? So this is a note from someone who calls themselves Big Jim Shooter, which I'm assuming is Jim Shooter. But let's just put this in the context of 1983 and 2023 at the same time. Here we go. Dearest Wheezy. So this is Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief of Marvel, writing to Louise Simonson, at this point, Louise Jones, in credits, who is the editor of the X-Men comics. If you don't put the letters back in the X-Men and stop the flood of complaints I'm receiving, I'll go mad and become a killer vampire pervert and murder you by draining all the blood from your body through the artery in your finely turned, delicate little ankle. He 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 he. Sincerely and with love and bloodlust, Big Jim Shooter. P.S. Soaking your ankle socks in garlic won't save you. I'm a Polish killer vampire pervert. What? What?
Wow. Wheezy, run.
HR.
Yeah.
Let's get you involved here. So then Kitty Pryde responds, I told you we're getting lots of mail. Now you know, and I know, that Jim's really a teddy bear who has your best interest at heart, even if he is as tall as Colossus and almost as cute. But it's sensible not to take chances, right? I mean, Louise might actually take to wearing garlic-soaked ankle socks. Yuck. So that's Kitty writing back. I'm assuming who's writing Kitty? Chris or Louise or maybe Anna Senti, who is probably at this point starting to help out as like an assistant to both Chris and Louise. Okay, weird first note.
Super weird.
Second note is something about some talk about. I'm not going to read this one. Never mind. Moving on. T.N. Fisher wrote that, no address given, but it doesn't matter. The next one. Dear X people, once you're done with the sleazoid business, I want to see Binary give Rogue a good punch in the nose. Hey, she got that. It's exactly. So this is from Stephanie D. And I'm just noting, like, oh, this is a woman writing in.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about comics culture in 1980 or 1983, and like, oh, we're getting, women fans. This is cool. The next one is to talk about language and telepathy, and this is from the director from the Center of Psycholinguistic Research in California. So, like, this is all about the Akanti, that species with the telepathy with Storm.
Yeah.
Like, there's some like really interesting thoughts and conversation there about it.
This is all over the place.
It is. And the next person talks about the Charles Xavier having a brood egg in his, and they're all laughing and they think it's a prank. This is from a woman named Michelle Head. Again, another woman writing in. And then a next one is again about the Brood Saga, the Akanti, that Aurora, like her change. And then it says it's impossible not to notice Wolverine's evolution from X-Men 94 to present. And I approve of the change. He hasn't lost his fire or passion, yet he's gained insight and emotion, setting him apart from other comic book psychos who are maniacs pure and simple, with no personal essence beyond that anger. I suspect the original Wolverine would have made his decision much more quickly about killing, that is. Made his decision much more quickly and would have attempted to kill the X-Men for the wrong reasons. That Logan would have definitely been thinking only of his personal safety, not his friends' need for a dignified death. Finally, I can't wait until the X-Men meet the New Mutants. This is from Susie Peterson, another woman writing in. So I'm wondering if they're like vetting the letters or if it's a fair representation of, a fair sample of who's writing to the book. But again, our comments about Wolverine and David's comments about Wolverine changing, like readers are noticing this too. And then lastly, dear X people, please let the little dragon in X-Men 166 stay with Kitty and return with her to Earth. And like, dude, like everyone's things are coming true. Everyone's wishes are coming true for this issue. Lockheed stays, becomes a regular player. David says, the sleazoid business is code for dealing with Jim Shooter. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Isn't he a fan expo this weekend? Garlic your ankles. Good one. Jason Lowe, cancel Jim Shooter. Hashtag cancel Jim Shooter. Chuck, what the actual fuck? Right? Holy, yeah. It's insane. So that's really what it said there. You guys want to see my big Jim Shooter? No, thank you. Chuck adds, the entire Brood storyline was a way to Me Too him the pages of the comic. Perhaps. Is it just me? Or isn't it weird to publish people's addresses in the letters? It's not just you. It was, I think, common at the time. And now it obviously doesn't hold up at all. Nothing like getting... What is doxed for sending some fan mail? What does that mean? DOXXED, doxed?
It means having your identity exposed online.
Okay. I haven't heard that before. Thank you for schooling me. There you go, Chris. That's the issue.
Wow.
Yeah,
that is something else, man.
It feels to me, I mean, I put in the clickbaity title, like a worthy sequel to the Wolverine Limited series, and my answer is no, it is not. It feels like not a sequel, but just a continuation. Like it feels like the first 4 issues are the start of something, and this is now just like, this is, part 5, but not a sequel on its own right. It doesn't have the same emotional weight. Obviously, it's only 1 issue. It's not 4. So we'll see. But at this moment, it is an issue that I really, really, really liked.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But definitely doesn't feel like an emotional sequel yet.
No.
I do like Silver Samurai as a villain.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm wondering what's going on with the rest of this sort of criminal underworld stuff and the disappearing guy.
Yeah.
The like arbitrator.
The guy who says it's all fallen into my plan. It's like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's a lot happening. I would have thought that all the Phoenix narrative would have been with Scott and Madeline Pryor, but something's happening here in Japan too. And I can't wait to see now, of course, the two of them go on that adventure, which is that cover. Like, it's Wolverine leading and Rogue is coming with him. And, as much as I like the idea of the Nightcrawler Wolverine team up, like, Rogue has superpowers extraordinaire to go with Wolverine. Like, if you want to go on a street level crime fighting mission, having Rogue being your backup is no slouch. Like, that's pretty exciting. I also did not bring up all the action figures that go with this issue, but they will next time when we read 173 with special guest Jay Torres, which I think is his first issue. I will have
think so. Yeah.
the figures on hand. I've got a Silver Samurai. I've got a Viper.
Okay.
Of course, I got a Wolverine. There isn't a
Can
Yukio.
she like remove her face, like she sheds her skin, like in the movie?
That'd be cool, but no.
Or would it?
There isn't a Yukio, but as I was reading it, I was thinking about what body would work for her, and maybe Jason and David could back me up on this, but the Typhoid Mary has those boots.
Oh.
And the leather jacket, sleeves kind of rolled up, and then the body stuff. You could take that body and do some repaints to make it into the Yukio. And as far as the short hair with like that spiky, nothing comes to mind just yet. Maybe there is like a
Boom
wasp.
Boom, maybe.
Oh, now you're talking.
But I think she's blowing gum though. I think too much. But there might be like a short hair,
maybe
like a Dazzler, but you'd have to like change the color of the hair.
Well, painting is I'm assuming that's the case, and I wonder if like Jubilee's head might be too small, and Boom Boom's head might be too small. But that's good thoughts, man. That's Wonderful's already made that, but it would be kind of cool to have a Yukio figure. Chuck says, I have a question about the Scott Madeline Phoenix storyline here. Is Claremont just throwing down some train tracks, or does he have an actual goal in mind? I think that's a really good question, and we can hypothesize. And I have not heard him specifically say one or the other. I think he's throwing down train tracks, and he does not expect Marvel to do, or Jim Shooter and the other editors to do what they're going to do within the next 3 years, which is by 86, they're going to bring back Jean Grey in a way that is not within Chris Claremont's creative control. And they just have to pivot. I wonder if he wanted to bring her back. And then, like, we have a couple things to think about here. I don't want to, I guess we can spoil. This is like, let's take this now out of the comic and just go with a larger conversation about it. We know that there is going to be another Phoenix character joining the team soon. Right? Within the next 20 issues, we're going to get Rachel Summers. So is Claremont laying down tracks, finds out it's going to go another direction? Does he already have Rachel in mind? Is Rachel a new inspiration that he doesn't have in his mind at this point? Or no, I don't know. It is really fun to think about, like, what it could be. And if he brings in Rachel Summers, is that like to satisfy some sort of creative need to have a Phoenix type character there, but then Marvel still goes and brings back Jean Grey, even though he never intends to do it? I don't know. Okay. Boom Boom's glasses are fixed to her face. Your glasses are fixed to her face. Jason Lowe says, you can peel off Callisto's head and glue it on any head. You mean her hair? We'll see what he says. If it's older than 30 years, you're good for spoilers. I agree with Conrad. I'm not worried about spoiling. I'm just kind of we like the narrative being about what's in the comic book and not really getting too far ahead of making too many grand connections, because there's so much one can do. Yeah. Callisto's hair, yes. Do you think the movie The Wolverine is better now, like with knowing Silver Samurai is part of this kind of storyline? Or do you think it doesn't change anything from your point of view?
I don't think it really changed anything as much as, because I think the versions we see in that movie of Silver Samurai and Viper are a little more. I don't know. I don't know if I enjoy either version of them. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
As in the film, I think I would have liked to have seen less of a snake person and more of a human samurai. I think with an energy, with a lightsaber. I don't know.
Agreed. I really, really enjoyed most of 75% of the Wolverine.
Yeah.
I realized, of course, that the creative team had to make some serious alterations. They could not do a direct adaptation, given that where Wolverine was in his arc within the comics and where he was in his arc within the movies, and how Japan was already established with him in the comic. When they go to the Wolverine Limited series, he's going to check in on Mariko, whereas in the movies, he's not introduced to her yet. So they have to. Their romance doesn't exactly feel as meaningful in the movie because he's still talking about Jean all the time, right? It's the first movie after X3, so he's in continuity.
Famke Janssen,
Yeah, so he's got to figure that out. I also I really like the actor that played Shingen in the movie, and I loved their final fight, which is like at the end of the second act. But it didn't have the same emotional weight because it's not the final fight. He wasn't the crime lord; it was his dad, right?
Yeah.
So there wasn't this Harada character as the brother, the out of wedlock brother. There's just the pieces are all in a different order, but it's still interesting. And I actually might put that movie on once we finish this one. I gotta work on this homage cover here that's coming together really nicely.
Cool.
Yeah, neat to see those connections. There is, of course, a Japan episode in the cartoon.
Haven't got there yet, but does Colossus show up?
No, it's called The Lotus and the Steel.
Ooh.
And it is in 4th season. And Wolverine, at that point in the animated series, Wolverine is really like losing himself, losing his direction, losing not trusting his instincts anymore. Like he has some like temper tantrum and some outbursts at innocent characters. And so he decides to go to Japan to recenter, and he comes across a village that is being raided by raiders who are collecting tribute for the Silver Samurai, and Wolverine and some locals have to fight off these raiders and the Silver Samurai. And it's got a lot of clips from other episodes in it, so it feels like you can see the budget stuff happening, another Simpsons clip show. Yeah, it is not a good episode. It doesn't do justice to any of the characters involved, let alone Wolverine. But it's full of stereotype performances from the vocal cast. Yeah,
I can imagine.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to talk about from this issue or the nearby ones?
I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to keep this going. It does feel like too. Issue 5. It's of a 6 issue trade kind of thing, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping we're going to get a lot more.
Yeah. And aside from that, no. I mean, the only thing that I want to mention again is you mentioned the top of the show, but this weekend we're in Toronto at Fan Expo Canada, Canada's largest fandom show, fan culture show, alongside our friends here in the chat, Jason and David and Conrad and a few others. So yeah, we're there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Table P7.
I'll be there Sunday.
7, and Jason's in there Sunday. So there you go.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Come on out, say hi. And I'm going to be doing a panel with our friend Conrad there as well about making indie comics. So there you go.
What about making indie comics?
I just send you some words on a paper, and suddenly there's a comic made. So
suddenly.
That's all that's the advice I'm going to give to the group.
Just send the script to Jason.
Exactly.
Wait 5 years.
So anyway, that's the big thing happening for us.
And come to the show, and you can pick up. Oh, I'm missing one. Hold on. You can get Peregrine's comics. I got so many Peregrine's comics. Oh.
So many. You're awash in Peregrine's comics.
This one out of print, but you can still get issue 7, issue Londinium, issue 8. What's that?
Moon.
Oh, Hunter's Moon. Yeah,
our latest one. That'll be there.
Latest one. That'll be there, as well as we'll have some singles if you're looking for anything from the first. There's a few collector. Remainder copies of the original. Sorry, what are you saying here? Why only Sunday? No, Chris is not.
I'm not there Sunday. Sorry, Jason.
That Jason is there from Thursday till Sunday, but I'm only there Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah. Bring my sketch if it's ready, please. This guy.
Who does he think he is?
Who does he think he is? Saying please to us. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Fan Expo in a big way. It's one of the highlights of the year for us, for sure. Good hangout, and I'm hoping to get a few back issues.
I know. I got to make my list, actually.
Yeah, I'm going to make a very short list and just do some quick hunting, maybe before the show starts on Thursday.
That's what I'm hoping to do, yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, Chris, good hangout.
Man.
Everyone in the chat, thank you so much for piping in. I see Jason Lowe, David Cutler, Conrad from Wednesday Night Reviews. Of course, Chuck Dotson, you've been here top to bottom today. That's really, really sweet and helpful, and we really appreciate everyone's support. Please click like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Throw a comment in, add yourself to the conversation, and you can find our comics at group7comics.ca. That's, of course, the number 7. Mm-hmm. And you can follow us on social media at group7comics and at Chris Sanagan or at Jason Lapidus Art. And we really appreciate any support you can give. That's great.
And I'm going to say that we just approved the proof for the graphic novel for the expanded edition of the printing. So I know if you have ordered it, it is on its way. Chuck, I'm thinking of you specifically because I know that you ordered a bunch of stuff from us, and it's going to come your way. You're just going to get that print hopefully next week, and we'll get it all down to you, man. Just want to be
Can't wait. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, and a Merry X-Men to you all, and to all a good night.
To all a good night.
Cheers. Have a good one. Thank you.